Shall I be completely honest or shall I be a little bit honest? I'm going to be completely honest. So, hi guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to a new video. I thought we would just sit and have a big catch up, a big chat. I'm all nice and comfy, although one thing is missing and that's a cup of tea, so I'm gonna go make one and then I'll be back. So, BRB. Oh, much better. That's gonna be hot though. I don't know if I've ever filmed in this setup, but I must say I love it because I'm so nice and sniggly. But I basically just asked for some questions over on my Instagram, so I just thought we'd sit and we'd answer them. Let me go find them. Hang on. Okay, the most common question seems to be, when am I getting engaged? When are we moving house? When are we getting married? When are we having kids? That is probably like 80% of the questions. So I still don't have a plan, guys. You know as much as me, well maybe not as much as me, maybe I know a little bit more, but getting engaged is completely out of my control. When Dan decides he wants to do that, he can do that. But yeah, honestly, like, we'll start with kids. To be fair, you would have asked me this question last year, I would have had a completely different mindset on it. I feel like me and Dan are at a point in life now where people around us are starting to have babies. Like last year, hardly anyone I knew had a child that was close to me. I had one friend and that was it. Whereas now, like, it's starting to happen more and I guess be more normal. And I think when you're around that, it does make you think, like when you're hanging out with your friends and they've got kids, it's like, oh, like your life is cool. Like, I love that. So I can't say it's a question, I can't say it's a thing me and Dan have sat down and gone, shall we have a baby? We're not quite at that point, but I can see us having kids before we get married for sure. I think we've both said that. So maybe if I don't like to have a plan with these things because it will happen when it happens, but potentially engaged, kids, marriage. And if you want to add moving house into that, I don't know. I've always said I could never see myself having a baby in this house. I mean, there's absolutely no reason why we couldn't. It's more than big enough. Like, the front bedroom's massive and we did it all up back end of last year, like September, October last year. And it would be perfect for a child. Wouldn't need decorating, but I don't know. I don't know if I can see us having a child in this house. That, I'm not sure. But yeah. That's all I can answer on that question, unfortunately. Would you ever get a normal job? I don't mean that offensively, honestly. No offense taken. I have always said, this is impossible though, but before I did social media full time, I worked at Dorothy Perkins. If you are a true subscriber, you've subscribed all the way back then. I love you. And oh my goodness, I miss it so much. Like, I've always said, if it was still there 100%, I would get my job back, albeit if my boss would have taken me back. When I did leave, she did always say there was always a job for me there, if I ever wanted my job back. But unfortunately it closed down in lockdown. Dorothy Perkins, well, the whole Arcadia group went into it just went bust. Dorothy Perkins have since been bought out by, I believe, Debenhams, but online only. So yeah, that little shop where I used to work is now a charity shop. I haven't actually seen it. I don't think my heart could take it. I'm gonna remember it the way it was. But that is just because it was like my comfort blanket. I knew all the people and it was really nice just to socialise with people. And big up .ep because it was full of the elderly and I love elderly people. But that would be more just to kind of get me out of the house and interact, and it really humbles you. But yeah, like it definitely has kept me humble. Like, I'm so glad I had a normal job before I ever did this and I didn't come straight into this, because I think I'd definitely be a different person. But I don't think so, unless obviously I couldn't afford the bills and I guess I'd have to, but no plans anytime soon. Any holidays planned? None yet. Me and Dan were going to go to Dubai for my birthday, which is next month, but it's really blooming expensive. We got such a bargain last year. It's now like over double the price. And also the thing with Dubai is you need a lot of money when you're out there. It's not obviously like an all-inclusive chill by the pool for like 10 days. Like you need a lot of spending money if you want to do all the things, like all the cool things out there. And I've done a lot of like long haul holidays recently, and I just want to do Europe. I really want to go to Switzerland. Dan isn't quite on the same page, but I'd love to do all like the Scandi places like Norway, Norway, Sweden. I'd also love to go to Switzerland, but Dan wants to go to Greece, so we'll go to Greece. Because that's more of like a holiday by the pool. But I think maybe 2 European holidays this year is the plan. Any more big house changes planned? Nothing else apart from getting the utility put in. Don't ask me when we're going to get that done, because I don't have a clue. But yeah, in all honesty, absolutely nothing else needs doing. The bathroom needs a lick of paint, but nothing else needs doing in this house. Like, I think it'll be a really bittersweet moment when we do the utility, because that will be the final thing done. We're kind of at a point where like I don't think we're going to sell our house in at least the next 18 months. I can't see us doing it, but we are like talking of like, oh okay, we've decided like the area we potentially want to live in next, and like we're looking on Rightmove. But sorry, the question next up was, would you ever move? And I started answering that question instead. But yeah, almost done. And we will move, but I don't see us moving in the next 18 months. I think in reality, we obviously want to, there's no point us moving to a house the same size, because that is so pointless. Like, this house is perfect. I love it with my whole heart. It will always be my favourite house because it's our first ever home we had together. And we would only move, we've always said our next home will be our almost forever home, our family home where we have all our kids. I don't want to move my children around. So it will be significantly bigger. So can't afford that just yet. So maybe in the next 18 months, 2 years, we'll move. I feel like we'll have 2 more Christmases here, put it that way. Do you feel better after stopping the contraception pill? I just feel like I know who I am now. That's the best way to put it. I've been off it a long time. I can't really remember how I was before, but the reason I came off it, and by the way, do your research. I'm not telling anyone to come off their pill. Don't want to be the reason people have unwanted pregnancies. Please and thank you. The reason I came off it was because I didn't cry. That sounds stupid, but it's so, like, I never cried. I had no emotion. Which, do you know what? Was it good that I never cried? No, it wasn't. Yeah, I just never cried, and I was like, something's not right. So I came off the pill because I was like, I just want emotions. And oh my goodness, that coming off the pill was like probably the worst time to know of like my life with the way I felt emotion wise. Nobody warned me about that. Honestly, I think it was just a massive flood of all my emotions over like 4 years or however long I was on the pill coming back to me. And yeah, every single emotion I felt, and all the negative emotions, and it lasted for about, started in the September. I honestly remember me and Dan was in the car driving, and I honestly felt myself change. I know that sounds bizarre, but like this wave of sadness came over me that didn't go for like September, October, November, December, January. I started to feel better. So like 4 months I felt awful. It wasn't a great time. I feel like I masked it up quite well for YouTube, but it was didn't enjoy it. But saying that, I wouldn't change coming off the pill for the world, because now I feel great. I feel like this is who I am. These are my actual true emotions. I'm not like masked by the pill. I was on the pop pill, by the way, which doesn't make sense because I swear there's no hormones in those ones. Not too sure, but yeah, I do feel better for coming off it. If you try to be more confident in your vids now. Thank you. I actually vlogged myself in the gym the other day, and I cannot tell you the happiness I felt walking out. I felt like I just bossed live. All I did was film myself on a treadmill, but I really felt like I accomplished something. Are you still living your car? How is it in terms of insurance? I'm still living it. Oh my god, I love it so much. I always say it to everyone, because like I have friends that are like, oh, do I do it? Is it worth it? And a car is just a car, but the way I feel when I drive it, I feel like I'm the coolest boss-ass bitch in the world. Put it this way, this car, I drive an Audi A1, and I know it's just an Audi A1 to everyone, but it was my dream car ever since I was learning to drive. That's the car I wanted when I was 17. got it last year when I was 24. I don't own it, I pay for it monthly, so I can't even say it's mine, but obviously to me it's my car. And I used to be such a nervous driver. I used to talk about this in vlogs, right? Like, I wouldn't drive anywhere. I just wouldn't. I'd only drive places I know, and then I'd make Dan drive everywhere else because I was such a nervous driver. Honestly, since I've had that car, I've driven to Cornwall and back. I've driven to Southampton by myself and back. I live nowhere near Southampton, by the way. I drive everywhere. Like, silly things like me and Arlo went to Drayton Manor last week in half term. I never would have taken them because of driving. I would have like not slept the night before because I'd be scared. So that's why I love it so much. Is just I'm this whole new person because of a car, which sounds so silly, but that's the reason I love it. And in terms of insurance, it wasn't that bad, but I feel like insurance has got really bad since I've had it. So I might be saying something differently when it's up. But I think for the year it was like around the £600 mark, which it changes for everyone depending on the area you live in. Obviously, if you've had any accidents before, points, etc., no claims, etc. But yeah, I'm a good girl with a clean license, so it was good to me. I love how people ask me football questions. It gets me so excited. Like someone said, who would you like Arsenal to sign next? I'm not going to sit and answer these because I feel like probably 95% of my viewers are not football fans, but to the people that ask it, thank you. How do you and Dan manage living together? Definitely sharing his small bedroom in a single bed in his parents' house for 18 months in lockdown. That I think is how we managed to live together, because anything compared to that is a breeze, let me tell you. How we did that, I will never know. We got on so well, and I don't understand how. So I think that's how we live well together, because now if we're in a mood of each other, we'll just go separate rooms. We couldn't do that in lockdown, so yeah. What made you start opening up more about your mum? Views. No, I'm joking. That was a joke. Mum, if you're watching this, it's a joke. Okay, oh, I hope people don't take that literal. Good question that I don't actually really know the answer to. Shall I be completely honest, or shall I be a little bit honest? I'm going to be completely honest. So, I heard... This is so... I don't know how people are going to take this. So, I heard if you want a TikTok to blow up, you need it to be really catchy at the start, okay? So, I filmed this TikTok, right? And I was sat there and I was like, my life is so boring, it's not interesting, I have nothing interesting about it. And I was think, like, what can make people catch on? So I was thinking and I was like, no, I'm boring, I've got nothing to say, nothing is gonna make anyone catch on, whatever. And I was like, I was watching the video back and it was like clips of me and Dan, whatever. And I was like, I know what I'll say. I'll say that my boyfriend has never met my mom, because that's so catchy and it's so like mysterious. So I did, which is obviously true, that's not a lie. I feel like you're pointing down at me. There we go. Yeah, cool, whatever. The video then got 1.8 million views. So I guess the catchiness worked. But what made me then speak about my mom more was honestly the comment section. It was like therapy. I have never done therapy. I've been told I should get therapy, but I've never had therapy for my mom. The way I see it, it's all tucked away nicely. In my head, I feel like I've healed, maybe I haven't, but to me, all those emotions are like tucked up in a little jar, stored away nicely. They don't need to be opened. I just feel like therapy would open them, and I just feel like I don't need it, whatever. But the comment section was like therapy, and it's so horrible to see how many people go through it. If you guys don't know, I haven't seen my mom since I was like 17. Moved out with my dad when I was like 14, 12, almost 13, sorry. But yeah, just to see how many people, how normal it was. And I was like, oh my God, so many people can relate to me. And I just had this really warm feeling just reading everyone's comments. And obviously it's sad that people go through it, but for the first time in my life, I really felt like I was understood. And like I say, now I feel so much better with it. There's people going through it like recently, and I was like, well, if I can give my advice how to help someone, like 100% I would do that. Now, one thing I've said I will never do is talk about my mum personally and the problems she's gone through and why I moved out. Like, it wasn't a case of one day I was like, oh, actually, mum, see ya, moving in with dad. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot more to it than that. But I'm like so happy now to speak online about how I've dealt with things and how to hopefully help other people. So that was like the real reason to cut it short, because that's just me yapping for how long did I just speak about that? Way too long. So to cut it short was because I saw so many people were going through it, and then I wanted to help people that had been through it, because I know it's not a nice situation, basically. What is on your bucket list? I honestly feel like I did so much of like, I feel like last year was really my year of like doing things I wanted to do. Like I went on my first girls trip, like big one, like me and Kirsty went to Mexico, saw Harry Styles in concert, that was a good one. Got Taylor Swift tickets, got my dream car. Like I feel like I don't really have a bucket list. I'm not gonna jump out of a plane. So I don't really have anything else on my bucket list. I like to live, I changed a lot, is that it's good to have dreams, don't get me wrong, and goals and things you really want to do, but I get pressured with that. Like if I've got like a checklist of things I want to do, I guess that's not really a bucket list, but it stresses me out. If, like, let's say I said I wanted a kid when I was 25 and I'm 25 next month and I'm not pregnant, I'd be so stressed out. Like I don't deal well with plans and 5-year plans and stuff like that. So I guess that's why I don't really have a bucket list, because then if I saw that my bucket list wasn't going down, I'd get frustrated at myself. I'm just a strange person, clearly. Everything is engagement. Guys, it's out of my control. I'm not going to propose to my boyfriend. He can propose to me. But, right, hear me out, ladies. I feel like I'll know. And I say this to Dan all the time, like, I feel like I'll know. Because, like, the minute he says to me, oh, I've got a nice day planned, I'll be like, you're proposing. I don't know about anyone else. I organise everything in this relationship, like, holidays, like, well, we do that together. And I don't know, if he was like, oh, I've booked us a holiday, I'll be like, you're proposing. Or he was like, oh, we're going out this weekend on Saturday, I'll be like, you're proposing. I think I'll just know. I don't know. I just feel like I would know. But I promise you, there's no one more in this world that wants me to get engaged than my own dad. My poor dad. I don't know if I've ever told this story, but when I was selling my car last year, I was selling it to We Buy Any Car, and I needed a document. I can't think what the document's called, but you needed to sell your car, and I'd misplaced it when we moved. I've since found it, typical. So I had to order one online, but because my car, I didn't realise it was registered to my parents' house, it got delivered there. So poor Dan went after work. He never goes around my parents by himself. Comes round to pick it up. My stepmom knew he was coming, but my dad clearly didn't. And my dad thought he was coming to ask the question. Oh, my poor dad. He really thought that was the time, bless him. And Dan was like, sorry mate, just come to pick up one of our letters. But yeah, that's everything. I feel like I haven't answered many questions, partly because 90% of them were the same, and 10% because everything that I did answer, I think I spoke about that question for like 15 minutes on every question, so I think we've spoken enough. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys all soon, hopefully, for another video. I really enjoyed this little chatty video, so we'll have to do one again soon. Although don't ask when I'm getting engaged, because I don't know, okay? I don't know. Imagine if I was like, oh yeah, next week. How am I supposed to know? Goodbye.